please.
I would say, in defence of Deputy Munster, we've been asking these questions regularly at Housing Committee and also in here in relation to the Rebuilding Ireland Home Loan. The reason the local authorities aren't releasing the funding is they don't believe you're going to get the funding. That's why they're not issuing them. But that's for you to put down questions at a housing level. I want to turn specifically to an announcement you made in September 2018, which was around the establishment of the Land Development Agency, which was the big idea to deliver 150,000 homes over the next 20 years. Now, yesterday at the Housing Committee, I asked the head of the Housing Agency, that is, had any land been transferred over to the LDA, and none has, because we're still waiting legislation. There is still no primary legislation published. Fundamentally, I want to ask is, when will the legislation to underpin the Land Development Agency be published? And secondly, and most importantly, why do I have to read in the Sunday Independent an article written by Michael Cogley that the Land Development Agency themselves, which are set up, John Moran as the interim CEO or the interim chairperson, actually stating that they're not going to be covered under the Lobbying Act? I think we need more transparency, not less. But certainly an agency that's set up in skeletal format shouldn't be saying what they will or not be covered on. And I just want to say, when the legislation is published, I would expect that the Land Development Agency will be covered under the Lobbying Act. So could we have a time frame for the publication of the legislation, please?
Minister.
Thank you for your support of the Land Development Agency, which is another important measure under Project Island 2040 and Rebuilding Ireland. The Land Development Agency has been established on an interim basis under the Corporate Bodies Act. It has an interim board in place, it has a CEO, and they're hiring people. They've also got €20 million of funding. Nothing is preventing them from progressing the initial 8 sites that they have, which they are working on. They have another 7 sites in the pipeline. We will establish them directly on a statutory basis and capitalise them at €1.25 billion worth of funding. I'm in discussions with the Attorney General at the moment about finalising the heads of the bill, which we hope to publish in the coming weeks. But nothing is preventing the LDA from doing the work that it is doing. And as he shakes his head, Ken Corley, if I can give him an example of one site that it's going to work on, which is the hospital in Dundrum. Okay? That is being decanted at the moment by the Department of Health. So before it is actually fully decanted, we're already looking at the site, looking at plans, designs and drawings, so that once it is vacated, we don't have to then do that work then. We can do that immediately and commence construction then, because we've already done that work in advance, and that's the work it's doing at the moment.
Deputy Ruth Coppinger, please.